Most gardeners start seeds in those expensive plastic trays sold at garden centers, thinking they're giving their seedlings the best possible start. That's a mistake. Those trays dry out unevenly, roots get trapped, and seedlings end up weaker than if they'd been started in something as simple as clean household waste, cotton scraps, paper, or even egg cartons. I've tested this across backyard gardens, raised beds, and hydroponic systems, and the difference is clear. The modern kit is often more style than substance. If you want real results, plants that germinate quickly, grow strong roots, and handle transplant shock without dying, you need to rethink the seed starting medium entirely. And before we dive in, if you haven't already, subscribe now, because I share hands-on techniques like this every week for serious growers who care about results. Stop thinking plastic trays are saving you time. They're often killing your seedlings slowly. Here's what happens with plastic kits. The trays wick moisture inconsistently, especially under grow lights or in sunny windows. One side dries out, the other stays soggy. Roots hit the tray walls and spiral, eventually circling into themselves, which stunts the plant. When it's time to move them into the soil, the seedlings go into shock, growth slows, and sometimes they die. In my first few seasons using commercial trays, I watched as 40% of my tomato seedlings failed or struggled to catch up after transplant. It's not the seed, it's the environment. That's why using simple, readily available household materials, not marketed kits, gives seedlings the breathing room, moisture balance, and flexibility they need to thrive. Here's what really works better than any seed tray you can buy. Household waste like cotton scraps, shredded paper, or biodegradable egg cartons gives seedlings exactly what they need. These materials retain moisture evenly without drowning seeds, provide soft resistance for roots to grip, and allow easy transplanting with almost no shock. Cotton is my go-to for small seeds like lettuce or basil, while shredded paper and egg cartons work well for larger seeds like beans, squash, and peppers. The principle is simple: soft, breathable medium that doesn't hold too much water or restrict roots. I start by gathering clean, non-synthetic cotton scraps from old t-shirts or sheets, or I shred paper that doesn't have heavy ink. For egg cartons, I cut them into individual cups and fold the top slightly to create a small basin. The cotton is moistened like a damp sponge, wet enough to support seeds, dry enough to let roots breathe. For paper, I soak it briefly, then squeeze out the excess water. If you're planting small seeds like lettuce, press them slightly into the surface so they stay put. Larger seeds, like squash, can just rest on top and will root downward naturally. I keep the trays in shallow containers to catch excess water and cover them with a clear dome or plastic wrap for humidity. When seedlings sprout in these softer, more natural materials, transplanting into a raised bed is seamless. The roots penetrate the surrounding soil quickly because they haven't been strangled or confined by plastic. I'll plant a cotton square or an egg carton cup directly into the bed, water gently, and within a week the roots are fully integrated. Even in small backyard gardens, this method saves time and reduces losses. For example, last spring I grew tomatoes and peppers from cotton squares. By the time I transplanted, they were already twice the size of seedlings started in traditional trays. How this applies to hydroponic systems. Hydroponics adds another layer of challenge. Roots need oxygen as much as moisture. Plastic trays often restrict airflow during germination. Cotton scraps, on the other hand, create a stable, oxygen-rich microenvironment for early root growth. I place a damp cotton square in net cups, seeds on top, and roots naturally grow into the water or nutrient solution. It avoids root compaction entirely and accelerates early growth. In my hydroponic lettuce system, Seedlings started in cotton squares reached harvest size 10 days faster than those in commercial starter plugs. Preventing mold, rot, and other problems with household materials. The biggest concern when using household waste is overwatering. Cotton, paper, and cardboard retain water but can harbor fungi if too wet. I rotate trays under a gentle fan or provide airflow daily. I also dip cotton squares or paper bases in a light chamomile tea or seaweed solution before planting, which acts as a natural antifungal. This simple step dramatically reduces damping off, especially for tomatoes, peppers, and brassicas. For hydroponics, keeping water oxygenated is critical. This approach prevents disease without chemicals and keeps seedlings healthy from day one. Monitoring your soil and compost temperature is still absolutely essential. Even if you've got strong seedlings, their success after transplanting really depends on the surrounding soil. That's where a good compost thermometer comes in handy. Personally, I use the RioTemp 36-inch Fahrenheit Backyard Pro Compost Thermometer with the digital composting guide. It tells me exactly when my compost or soil mix is at the optimal temperature for planting seedlings, making sure the environment is active, alive, and ready. Using this tool, you can totally avoid the guesswork that honestly kills even the healthiest seedlings. The link to this product is in the description. It's become pretty much indispensable for my gardening workflow. So let's talk about how this method saves money and reduces waste. Plastic kits are expensive, single-use, and frankly, pretty harmful to the environment. Household materials, on the other hand, cost nothing, and once the seedlings are transplanted, the remaining material can be composted. I reuse cotton scraps from old linens and old paper, and egg cartons just break down naturally in the soil. This approach is sustainable, cost-effective, and honestly works better than any commercial kit I've tried. If you care about both your garden and the planet, this method just makes perfect sense. Now, what kind of results can you expect with this approach? Seedlings grown in household waste tend to germinate faster, develop stronger roots, and handle transplanting without much stress at all. Whether you're using backyard beds, raised beds, or even hydroponic systems, they consistently outgrow seedlings from plastic kits by a noticeable margin. For tomatoes, peppers, lettuces, and brassicas, the difference is really dramatic. You'll see healthier, more vigorous plants, earlier harvests, and fewer losses. Even in a small urban garden, this method gives your seedlings a head start that pays off all season long. Don't be afraid to experiment, but, do follow the core principles. The method is simple, but consistency really matters. Keep your material damp but not soaked, provide plenty of airflow, and avoid using synthetic or heavily inked materials. Fertilize lightly after true leaves appear, and always check the next medium's readiness with proper tools. If you stick to these principles, household waste will outperform almost any seed starter kit, whether you're gardening in the backyard, using raised beds, or even hydroponics. Bringing it all together, plastic seed trays just aren't the fail-safe tools they're marketed to be. Household waste, like cotton scraps, paper, and egg cartons, gives your seedlings a breathable, moisture-stable environment that encourages faster germination, stronger roots, and less transplant shock. Combine this with proper monitoring of soil and compost temperatures using the RioTemp compost thermometer, and you're really giving your plants everything they need to thrive from day one. If you found this method useful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel for more hands-on, results-focused gardening techniques. Share this video with a fellow gardener who's struggling with weak seedlings, because this approach works across all types of gardens and hydroponic systems. Growing better food isn't about following trends, it's about using proven methods that get results season after season. At the end of the day, ditch the plastic trays, recycle what you have at home, and start seedlings the way nature intended, soft, breathable, and ready to grow. You'll see stronger, faster-growing plants and, honestly, a much happier garden.